Hi, I'm Patricia Allingham Carlson, and this is my video of how I painted the beach at night. My family and I take a yearly trip to the seashore, and one of the most exciting things that we do together is to walk on the beach at night. It's dark, it's mysterious, it feels almost dangerous with the pounding waves. The breeze is blowing. It's quite a magical place. I'm trying to convey all those feelings I have about the beach in this painting. I begin by using masking fluid. I'm masking off the horizon line, and off in the distance there's a jetty reaching out with some lights on it. Sometimes there's also some ships with small lights off in the distance. My photo reference had a full moon out, and that moon was just shining on the waves. One big wave looked like it had actually caught the moon. So I did a lot of masking to try to show where the moon was reflected in the water. As I'm working, I noticed I was splattering some in the place where the sand and the beach was going to be in the future. I decided to leave the splatters and see what they would be useful for, because I could always cover them up later if I didn't like white sparkles in those areas. There's several different layers of the ocean waves, including the layer that's just laying in a thin film on the sand. Since it's so dark, there's not even that much of the wave action showing. So I'm exaggerating a bit what I do see and adding some more lines off on the horizon and in the foreground. But the primary reflections and light will be directly under where the moon is, higher up in the sky. After that dried, I got the whole paper wet and put in some very strong colors. While the colors were soaking wet, I covered them over with plastic wrap. Here I am finishing up the water after completing the sky. And I've gone back into the water a number of times with a mixture of indigo, Payne's gray, and some purple to make a very good dark color. And then I cover that according to how the wave movement is on the water. Once the plastic wrap is applied, I put a piece of cardboard over it and then some heavy weights on top. And when it's dry, I remove it. You can see the impressions that the plastic wrap has left on the wet surface. And I find these exciting and fun to work with to paint. If you're using this technique, I'd recommend that you don't overpaint, because you will paint out the textures and they will disappear. So you have to try to work with them and apply your paint with a light hand where you wish to work with the textures and keep them remaining. My very dark colors that I had applied dried much later, as some of the colors actually pulled off by the plastic wrap itself. I'm adding a dark cloud formation and then darkening the sky around it. And I'm going back and dropping in even more dark color because I know it's going to dry lighter. And there it goes and just dries lighter again. Coming down to work into the water, I'm building the structure of the wave. I'm putting in the darks where I want them to be around the masked areas where it's lighter. And you can see the wave form starting to form. I'm also putting in some colors. I'm totally exaggerating the little bit of color that I see in the waves from my photograph, because I want to try to convey the magic that I feel. And now I'm darkening the actual ocean itself. In the background. The base of the wave is the darkest part in my particular picture. With bright sunlight out, there's a translucent section in the middle, and then of course the white foam on top. But it's not daytime, it's nighttime, so the wave is pretty dark, except where the light is sparkling on it from the moon. And some whiteness from the foam did show up. The beach itself, the sand, is quite dark because it's nighttime. Darkening up that cloud again and painting around the structure where I'm trying to catch the light of the moon shining on the top of the cloud. I thought I'd taken too much of that off, so I'm removing some paint to keep that lightness right along the section of the cloud that is lit up by the moon. Now I'm taking off the masking that is along the horizon line and in the water, as well as on the waves. And there's a lot. Masking fluid is a very useful tool for keeping your whites white. However, it does require a lot of going back to work it over and blend it and make it mesh with the rest of the scene and not just stand out with hard edges. Here I was trying something different. With the masking partly removed, I tried painting over top of it to see if I could get some sort of webby type of approach. And when I remove the masking fluid, I'll check it out and see if it made a difference. Moving back to the sky, I've decided to make it a little darker yet again. I'm working with the horizon and putting in a nice tight dark line. And you can see the lights shining along the horizon line. I removed the rest of the masking fluid and did not find that partially removed masking made any difference at all. So that experiment proved to be for nothing, but at least I tried something different. Now I'm going back in and adding some subtleties to the wave and the reflection. Some of the colors I'm using are yellow, turquoise, and quin magenta. I'm also using some permanent pink and some ultramarine blue. As I paint in the medium tone colors, I'm blending the harsh whites that the masking left so that I will have softer lines for the water. I'm adding more darks in a glazing to make the bottom of the waves stand out in a more accented manner. And blending it into the other areas of the water. These medium tones are serving to blend the rest of this wave structure, where it's not as bright as where the moon is directly reflecting on the water. A lot of blending, a lot of adjustments, and trying to retain the sweep and the direction of the wave at the same time. I had added a lot of sparkle in the water off in the distance, and now I'm toning it down some. And this is a matter of adjusting and balancing. And that is what I'm going to be working on for quite a while with this water. And you can see the diagonal direction that I'm trying to continue to uphold as I build this wave structure with strokes of paint and blending and shading. At this point, I pulled out some Viridian green, and I'm enhancing that along with some turquoise. The dark color is a mixture of indigo and purple. There's a wash of color in indigo going on the left side as we move directly out of the direct range of the moon reflection. The colors darken on each of the edges. And I decided I want to have a lighter area in the sky around where the moon is higher above. So I'm removing some paint in this area. I first put on some water from my brush and then I blot. And I'll be doing more of that. In this new painting session where everything was dry, I'm coming back and adding another layer of dark for further accent. And I'm starting to feel the structure of the wave and how it's washing into the beach. And it's starting to feel right to me. A lot of layers, a lot of working of the colors, and a lot of softening of the white edges. And that is what I'm continuing to do at this point. I'm coming back to the sky and adding some purples to tone down the pink along the horizon a little bit. I'm shaping the little circles of light along the edge of the horizon. And continuing to blend and bring a little more color into the reflection on the water. You can see I'm adding some lines for the directionality of the wave as it moves forward to crash. And those lines are almost all on a diagonal. I'm bringing a little bit more of the permanent pink, or permanent rose rather, into my water because it is a dominant color in the sky, and I figured it would reflect a little bit. And it's done. I hope you enjoyed my video of the beach at night and how I painted it. Please give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoyed it, subscribe. Just ring the bell below and you'll get a notice every time I put up a new video. There's more links below to click on too to see my art page on Facebook. You can read my blog and my thoughts about art and life. There's a link to some products I like to use when I create my own art, and also my art products page for purchase. Your comments are always welcome. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.